All right, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick video. Yeah, actually, it'll be quick. Just a couple things the day after the recall meeting. So you guys know the recall meeting, I heard 169 ballots were received. We needed the 230 in this meeting to reach a quorum. The meeting was adjourned, and so the board will have a decision to make, I think, in the next couple weeks on reducing I think it's 25% reduction needed for a quorum. And in that time, if we get more ballots, and I think that 25%, I think we'll be close to a quorum, plus if people continue to turn in their ballots, would be great. It's also why, when we were there last night, one of the directors who's being recalled, Michael Allen, made some very serious errors in judgment. Not only was that meeting not a place for you to campaign, as he did, not only was that meeting just a place to have the recall, he proceeded to be very unruly, wouldn't listen to any other of the members, treated our guest and our attorney horribly, and it was so embarrassing. And I mean, just it was a shame. It was one of those things where I already apologized to Zach and to his law firm for his behavior and Michael Allen's behavior during this, and how rude and disruptive he was. And listen, even if you have a grievance, that's not the place or the forum for it. I mean, I know that grandstanding and trying to, beat your chest, you think that to people that will help your case. I just don't think with the people that were there that went the way he had hoped. I think that immature behavior and that bullying behavior isn't what's best for the HOA, and to have that put on full display in front of our guest there, our attorney, is shameful. So regardless of whether or not you have an issue, it's fine, but have some tact in how you handle that issue. And last night was just horrible. I mean, really bad. I mean we had one director grab a camera out of their hand and smack it into a glass and cut them, and you had to file a restraining order on that case because you can't have directors manhandling employees. And it's gotten so out of hand for these two, Hal and for Michael Allen. It's just, at some point in time, I do believe that when people have an opportunity to objectively see what's going on, and listen, even listening to me, just validate it from your own sources. Hopefully you can trust what I'm saying, but listen, I'm a fallible person too, so I'm only going to tell you from where I'm sitting, what I know and what I've seen, and it's up to you to look into it and find out what's going on. Obviously, my assistant didn't cut her hand on herself, and break a glass herself. That was pretty crazy. But and then last night's was just, it was bad. And but this is what that side wants. I mean, so many of the GPL supporters that are out there that are afraid to admit it, but they do the exact same thing, and then they say the exact same things. That's why I said it's less about what someone's saying, it's what they're doing. I mean, to want to recall an entire board that has taken this HOA from flatlining at $2,000 in our reserve account to a couple $100,000, and winning like 14 out of 15 hearings against GPL in court, and think it's prudent to completely eradicate the board and recall them all, leaves something to be desired up here, right? I mean, that just doesn't make sense. We've gotten this far, we've done this well, we've put in hundreds of thousands into the account, hundreds of thousands into the HOA, from the pool to the lake to the golf course, and you're wanting to change all that because it's that bad? Stop it. That's silly. but you're entitled to vote, and listen, I think that's fine. But when a director gets up and campaigns in a meeting where there's voting and there's votes being turned in and the meeting hasn't adjourned yet, meaning that the election itself is continuing, not smart. Again, just breaking campaign rules and just not smart. Especially if your desire was to then tell everybody that because they're being compared to GPL and referencing that to, like in the 60s, being called the communist, is somewhat ironic, because when Michael Allen said that last night, but forgot, he must have been telling everybody during the entire meeting before and after that that the election is invalid, right? So he's basically telling his supporters and everybody that not only is he interpreting the law, he is the law, and that he is going to ensure that your 169 votes are invalid. Pretty sure that's communist type mentality thinking. Ironic, right? Then there was also some mention about a temporary restraining order this morning, which was earned by the persons who are involved in it. The court obviously agreed, which is why the temporary restraining order is intact and stays intact. And it's also why it's ironic that when the prior hearing was had, which I went to, and Michael went to, that the plaintiff's attorney in this case, Harriet Cohen, and brought her attorney, they had basically brought up to the court something that even the court didn't know, and had to take a recess to find out, which was, well, hey, listen, you know what? Since the Lakeland Area Homeowners Association and myself are filing this workplace violence restraining order, that needed to be represented by an attorney. So they told the court that that's what they wanted. Now, I found it a little ironic because the first hearing that we had that was postponed, the judge didn't mention it, and the judge this time didn't know if that was the case either. But this is what the plaintiffs wanted. Harriet Cohen's attorney and Harriet wanted this, and they wanted to have our attorney represented. They asked the court, and they told the court that that's how it had to be, and the court agreed. Okay, well, listen, 2 judges and myself didn't know. But we complied. It was the right thing. So then this morning, someone, I guess Harriet's saying something about having a attorney representing us and who's paying for it, and we're wasting money or something along those lines. When you create the fire that requires the fire department to come and put it out, and then you want to talk about resources and money having to do so, you don't have much of an argument there. But there's even another analogy I'd like to give, because it's somewhat fitting here, and this is what it's kind of like a logical fallacy argument that goes around a lot, right? So for instance, I go out and I buy a house worth $1.5 million, okay? And I buy that $1.5 million home for $1 million, okay? And that nets me 500 G's right away, okay? So someone walks into my house and they come and they take a look and they're like, wow, that sink you got there, how much was it? And I tell them, well, that sink right there is $2,500. And they're, oh, you got ripped off. I'm like, well, what do you mean? How did I get ripped off? Well, that sink's, I could get it for $1,500. And then I say, well, that's great, but I bought the house with the sink and I'm still up $500,000. There you go. That's the same argument. You're going to complain about whether or not money's being diverted in one direction, as if somehow your actions didn't constitute it happening, and then you're going to neglect the fact that we've put in hundreds of thousands into our reserve while doing these things that are required of us, and then also not mentioning the fact that we put hundreds of thousands back into the lake, the golf course, the pool, the bar, and everything else. That's the full rounded spectrum of what goes on when you have people who, they get a budget of 300 different line items and they want to pick and choose one of them that doesn't look good, while forgetting the fact that the dues aren't getting raised to $400. They're staying at $163.50, as they know. And the fact that we've been able to, get the autonomy back to the association from where it was and do so very successfully. So just keep that in mind when you hear these things, because there's people out there who have earned TROs, and it's unfortunate. It's not anything that myself, the board, wants to do. I know many of you don't like it either. Well, you know, it's kind of like life. Sometimes you've got to get up and go to work and grind it out even though you don't want to. And that's very much the case here. So anyways, thank you guys very much. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and forward to seeing you soon.